Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Peters. I'm so glad that you are back with me. I'm back for another wonderful installment today of Put Your Dreams to the Test. I pray that all of you are safe. I pray that you all are well and you all are covered. As I begin to talk to you today, I hope that you have enjoyed all of our wonderful series of teachings of these motivational principles and life-changing thoughts and empowerment words as you're putting your dream to the test. Today, I want to give you something called the fulfillment question. The fulfillment question. Does working towards my dream bring satisfaction? Does working towards my dream bring satisfaction? I thought about this over the weekend, and I thought that this would be good to kind of share with you all on today to make sure that we are actually talking the right spirit and the right language. There is always and has always been a huge gap between the birth of a dream and actually the achievement of that particular dream. The question that I want to say to you parents, some children that are watching, or even vice versa, if the children are watching and parents, you're leaning into it, I want to ask you a critical question, because you have to ask yourself whether it will be the fulfillment gap or the frustration gap. Yes. If you look at today's society right now, we're in nothing but frustration. We are dealing with something that we never thought that we'll ever have to see in this lifetime. And if it is a frustration gap, I tell you, you're going to be miserable most of the days that you are in that particular place. Every day that you are frustrated instead of being fulfilled, the odds then becomes closer and closer that you will not ever move towards the place of progression to get to that dream that you're trying to do. One thing I want to say to you is that the gap between when you set out to do something and when you actually begin to see the significant results in that dip, it does take a period of time for it to manifest. Today, I'm going to kind of encourage you and empower you because you are a fulfilled person, even in the midst of a pandemic. I was sharing over the weekend with 1,000 leaders in our KLC group, that's Kingdom Leadership Coaching Group. I said that millionaires are birthed out of a crisis. And I thought about it before I came on today to talk to you, is that fulfilled people understand the difference between a dream and realization. Dream and realization. That means that there are two words that's attached to realization. That is ideas and actuals. And ideas is what could happen if everything was perfect. But the actuals is what will happen because everything is not perfect. Okay? So fulfilled people understand the size of the dream and that determines the size of the gap or the dip. I want you to know right now, this very moment, the size of your dream, the higher you go, the deeper depth that you got to dig for that thing to actually be able to stand. Your roots have got to be planted. You got to make sure that you're like a tree planted. And a lot of times, us as parents, us as entrepreneurs, us as business owners, us just trying to make $1 out of 15 cents every day, we realize that we have a dream, we have aspirations, we have goals. It's now up for us to make sure that we're able to do exactly what we have been predestined to do, but more so believe in what it is that we know we're going to do. Anything worth achieving, you got to pay a price for. We talked about that in one of our earlier sessions. We talked about the size of that dream, but you got to also know the greater gap or the depth that you got to go through to get to that particular place. So it's very important, if you're going to be a fulfilled person, that you understand the size of that dream. You got to get to know it. You got to eat it. You got to believe it. You got to strive towards it, and you got to know that you can actually have it. Whatever that you ask, it shall be given. If you seek it, you're going to find it. Knock, and the door shall going to be open for you. You just got to know what it is that you're getting ready to walk into. And then I want to say to you that fulfilled people appreciate every step in the actual journey. I come to tell you everything that I've gone through, I really, really, really have become appreciative. Yes, it pained me. Yes, I've cried many, 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 many tears. I've had to suffer. I had to look at the price of the dream. The price of the dream, some people had to walk away. Some people didn't stay with me since I began. There are people that threw me to the dogs. There were people that gave up on me. There were people who didn't want to sow into my dream. There were people who said that my dream was crazy and fanatical. There were people hey, it's a way of life, but I understand I had to take those steps to be better than where I am. I had to look at my life and say, man, what could I do different? I had to see my life and be able to say, I've got to make some changes, because the twin killers of success is impatience and greed. And I'm learning in this season that I had to learn how to keep cool in a hot storm. I had to realize I couldn't put my hand in everything. I had to learn that touching some stuff wasn't always the right thing. And sometimes, hey, you just got to know life. You got to deal with life and keep rolling with the punches, and just know that you are better than what statistics and odds have got to really say. So I've learned that along the way. Fulfilled people make new discoveries while living in the gap. You learn new discoveries while living in the gap. You find out things that you never knew when you're going through a situation. It makes you stronger. It helps you build pressure. It helps you learn from those particular places. You have the potential to make every wonderful, wonderful discovery in the pursuit of your dream. So hear me. It's a learning experience. It's a learning curve. It's just a place where we go to see ourselves wanting to be better, because none will actually be greater than what you discover about yourself. That's one of the greatest joys that I will always forever seek to have, and understand that while I'm going through something, that I'm always going to be taught something new. Every day, it's always a new learning opportunity. You can learn from a child, you can learn from an adult, you can learn from your job, you can just learn from life itself, because life is surely an actual teacher. Here's number 5. Fulfilled people buy into the natural law of balance. Okay, and that's the good and the bad. I remember a long time ago when I was growing up, you probably don't even know this. Well, matter of fact, parents will probably know this guy. His name is Jermaine Jackson. And he wrote a song that said, don't take it personal. Take it with the bitter and the sweet. An optimist actually tends to actually think that all life is good. That's what they believe. Pessimistic people always believe that life is bad. The reality is that really in my lifetime, neither is actually right, because life is actually both. Okay, that's what I really believe. Only people who actually accept and embrace the actual truth are able to really find fulfillment. That was one of the biggest struggles I've ever had in my life, simply because people will accept it and endure it, or there'll be people who won't accept it and reject it. And what happens, we become apathetic to meeting the difficulties in our lives, and we will shrug, we will sigh, because hear me, now we're all in a place where we have got to survive. We're now at a place where the world would say we're not going to be successful, but you got to know the dream and what you've been told and what you have been promised. To reach a dream and to be fulfilled actually in that process, you have to be proactive in bad situations just as well as good ones. One of the things that I observed about successful people over the years is that no matter how they feel and no matter how they do things right, hear me, they know that it's a price that you have to pay. On one hand, they know the price of success. On the other hand, you have unsuccessful people who wait for people to make them feel good and validate them to walk into a place when theoretically you got to know how to get it on your own. I made an illustration in one of our earlier videos, and I'll bring it back to your remembrance. If you stay up past 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, they have nothing but infomercials on. And they had this one infomercial on one day with the love jams, the slow grooves. And the man said to the other brother, he said, look here, man, I got to get this CD. And the man said, no, my brother, you got to get your own. That's the problem with our mentality today. We got to make sure that if we see one down, that we help the other up. If we see one going through, it's our job to help them up. What I'm doing now is I'm adding into you so you can multiply into others. If I'm talking to a parent, I'm adding into you so that you, when you make your money, you can help your kids make more money than you. I said it the other week, and I'll say it again. Cash App is going to be hitting in your sleep. I said to you, PayPal going to hit in your sleep, because you have the dream for you to get to where you need to be. It all goes back to, where do you see yourself? What do you believe in? How do you want to see yourself walk into that true place of fulfillment? No matter what you're dealing with, you have the ability, the tenacity to walk forward, to go above and beyond what you can ask, think, dream, or even imagine. This is your time. This is your season. This is your arena of fulfillment, your area of fulfillment, your manifestation for fulfillment. All you got to do is put your dream to the test.